This is episode 540 of the Eventing Radio Show, brought to you by Eventing Riders Association of North America. This week's show, we have Kathy Wieschhoff, Jessica Phoenix, and Lisa Thomas. This is Max Corcoran in overcast, but yeah, warmer than where Joe is, West Palm Beach, Florida.
And this is Joe, and I am in cool in the morning, but sunny as always, beautiful Ocala, Florida, and you are listening to the Eventing Radio Show. Max, how are you doing down there in West Palm Beach?
Good. I'm at my very first USEF meeting as my first official duty as president-elect, and it's different. I've never been here, so it's not what I was different from the USCA meeting. So this has been kind of interesting, learning about all the other breeds and disciplines and meeting some people that do what we do for their world, that kind of thing. And got to go to the big, the riders or the human side awards yesterday, because they're not all riders. There's some of them are drivers, or the equestrians, I guess they call them, the Equestrian of the Year awards. So that was last night, and the Horse of the Year awards are Saturday night. So that's been kind of cool. And so here we are. Yeah, been down to the water, put my feet in the water. That was great. Got to do that while you're here, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I last a week down there. Get
Yeah, it gets claustrophobic, but right now I've been in a hotel most of it, so you don't really feel the claustrophobia because it's just sort of like being at any other kind of meeting. Yeah.
No, it's not. Look, it's great.
Yeah.
It's a great place to go and visit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not for us rural eventer types, I don't think.
No, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
I lived in London for 4 years, Max.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I lived in London for 4 years, and I've had my dose of city traffic. Loved it. I had a great time. Best time ever. Yeah. But like now I'm back to my rural roots, I feel.
Back down to
I just like it a little bit slow color. That's just the way I like it.
It is.
Yeah.
It's great.
But anyway, enough hassling West Palm Beach. So what are some of the differences, Max? You said like it's a bit different. Is it just a bit more?
Well, I feel like when you go to the USCA convention, there's a lot of educational stuff. There's different open forums, there's and stuff like that. And there's not that here. There's just, I guess there's a few of it. I shouldn't say there aren't any, but very, very few things that you sort of say, ooh, I really want to listen to this person speak, because there's not really any presentations per se. But, they did have a safe sport type thing, and that was blah, 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 blah. So, and again, if I have to hear the word safe sport one more time, but they've done a good job sort of explaining the process and sort of doing all that kind of stuff. So there is that. And so they haven't, it's just different. It's all it is. It's just a different feel. I wouldn't say there's not a lot of people here. I guess if people are here, they sort of ebb and flow in a little bit. So it's just different. So not that it's better or worse. It's just different. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose you're going to have to get used to it, Max. You're going to be going to quite a few of these meetings.
I am going to be. Yep. Exactly. Bring it on. Yeah.
I'll leave you to it.
Oh, no.
Well, we have got a long show, so you're going to have to get ready for a big long trot set, you trot setters. Yep. We have got Jess Phoenix. We've got
Kathy Wieschhoff.
We've got and Lisa
Thomas.
Thank you,
yes.
Max.
Yeah.
And we've got a fantastic show coming up for you today, and we will get to that right after we have heard from Springtime Supplements.
Springtime Supplements has been dedicated to improving the lives of horses with Springtime brand of supplements, and they've been doing it since 1979. Springtime offers supplements for joint health, immune support, calming, hoof and coat, insect control, and much, much more. Before we tell you about one of their really interesting products, ahi flower oil, we wanted to mention that they have a special just for listeners of the Eventing Radio Show. You receive an authentic 15% off and free shipping for just mentioning the show. Be sure to go to springtimeinc.com/eventing or call one of their knowledgeable reps and be sure to mention the discount code eventing. Have you ever heard of ahi flower oil? We all know the importance of essential fatty acids for horses, but recently a plant was discovered to provide completely balanced omega-3, 6, and 9. They call it ahi flower. Till now, you had a few options. You could use fish oil, but let's face it, horses are herbivores. They don't evolve to consume fish oil. But there's also flax, but ahi flower has been shown in clinical studies to provide better omega-3, 6, 9 absorption and balance in horses. It's proven to be better than flax or fish. This is the type of expertise you get from Springtime, who are always at the forefront of the latest research. And don't forget that Springtime also has a full line of canine supplements to keep your dogs at peak wellness too. The website again is springtimeinc.com/eventing or just give them a call. Welcoming back to our show is our good friend, Kathy Wieschhoff. Kathy, good to talk to you.
So glad to be here. Glad I could join you this afternoon.
Yeah. So, Kathy, you, I think we talked to you maybe about last year sometime about going down to Costa Rica and doing some course designing and course building down there. And you went ahead and did that again, didn't you, recently?
Yeah, they invited me back. The first year was quite a challenge because I designed beginner novice through preliminary on 11 acres. And that was quite challenging. Yeah. This year, they didn't have as many competitors, but it was kind of cool to go back and
I thought you was going to say as many acres and you had to trim the...
Well, no, they still don't have any more acres, but okay. They didn't have as many competitors. So, right. So I only had to do 2 divisions. And so that was obviously a little bit easier, trying to not having to fit everything in down one alleyway. Made my options a little easier. It also was great just seeing all the horses again and the riders again, and being able to kind of adapt what I'd learned the time before to make it a better competition for them, I thought, this time. So it was really fun. I mean, and you know, who doesn't love Costa Rica? The weather's beautiful, and all the things you see there, the way they transport the horses and the way the horses live, and it's just a totally different world from what a lot of us are used to. So it really still lets you appreciate the adaptability of the equine.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what, how many competitions do they have down there every year?
I think they run at least 2, if not 3 competitions. And you know, Leo is Leo Munoz Ortiz. I think I pronounced that right. She and her mom run the stable. There's a lot of kids that come in and ride. They do a bunch of school horses. Some people own their own horses. The father is a lawyer, I think, that works in San Jose, but he has dressage horses and he comes out and rides when he has time. And they do a lot of different things. They kind of run maybe like their own pony club. They have a lot of education for the kids, a lot of education for the adults, and it's a very, very active, involved. So they might not run an event, you know, 2 or 3 times a year, but they're doing dressage shows, they're doing quadrilles, they're doing, you know, all kinds of stuff that is educating the kids and the adults and letting everybody have a good time with their horses over there.
That's so cool. How fun.
It is cool.
Yeah.
It is fun.
Because they do somewhere on the in Costa Rica, they do run an FEI competition, don't they?
Yes, they do, but I'm not exactly sure. I mean, when I was there, I think they have run an FEI competition at their place, just a 1-star. But I'm not exactly close to San Jose, I think.
I gotcha.
But they do run a 1-star, and I think then the 2-star happens maybe over in Colombia or something. So,
wow,
in South America, yeah.
What do you see as the biggest challenges for you going down as a course designer? Is it land? Is it is it the materials you get to use?
No, the materials I get to use are fantastic. I mean, Hilda, the mother, just builds everything. And she's had, I think John Wells has come in and done some building for them. She's had some good builders come in and build them some really nice fences. And they're all just laid out and ready for me to decide where I'm going to put stuff and where to plunk it. I think the biggest challenge, there is no forklift. It's the guys, lifting it on the wagon and driving it to the lower field. And when they put the footing down, it's by wheelbarrow on the path, and so I think that those are kind of the biggest challenges, is actually getting the fences out there. But they have really, really good quality fences, and I think Hilda's built every single show jump they have. And this year she did a brand new Christmas tree standard, show jump, and because I was there, right before Christmas, and so they just put a lot of love and effort into it, and a lot of, as we would say, elbow grease, because there isn't a lot of machinery to do the work. And the guys, go out, they stake everything. And I mean, it's all done properly. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
That's awesome. That is pretty cool. And so this last one that you went to do, so you were there, but you sort of have to build as you go along, don't you? Because you use some of the fields for the show jumping, and then you put a jump in. Is that right?
Yeah. The show jumping course happens also on, an acre and a half that we have to use for the cross country. But again, the first year when I went down, I kind of designed the show jumping course and then, put the cross country fences in. And this year I did it kind of in reverse. I kind of set the cross country fences and then built the show jumping course around it. And it actually, works well either way. It really does depend. Again, this year I only had 2 levels to run through that field. So it was easier. I didn't have quite so many jumps. The biggest thing I felt like I gave to them the last 2 years was like their warm up, has to be in a sand arena, like a 20 by 40 sand arena. So, and then the way that the field is laid out, there's kind of one side of it that's revetted with a ditch, and there are some jumps that we use, but you can kind of gallop across the bottom of it. And I set up kind of a galloping fence, and they go out there and have a little canter on the grass and can jump something solid before they start cross country. And, they have the limited amount of competitors, and because of the track, the way the track is designed, you can't run more than one person at one time. So they start one, and when it goes around the top and down the bottom and comes back up, and then it finishes and the crowd goes wild, and it's so fun. And then the next person starts, and it's just, it's really cool to like cool. I said, and Leo does all the announcing, and she's just hilarious. I don't understand half of what she says because she talks Spanish, but you can tell by the inflection in her voice, it's just hilarious. It's really funny.
And
it's a little bit of a challenge getting the show jump and the cross country on that one field. But, as soon as they do the dressage and show jumping the first day, and the second day is the cross country, and the guys are out there with their wagon, and they pick up all the show jumps. And so all of a sudden you have a nice, clean field with a few jumps in it for the cross country. So it's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Now, having a quick look at the map here, Kathy, did you have just riders from Costa Rica, or did you get some of the other South American countries coming along as well?
I think we just had riders from Costa Rica this time, and I think we may have had a couple from the other countries when I was there, and I think it was 2016 in the spring. So when it was a bigger competition, when they had the preliminary, they ran the preliminary or CCN one star, and then training beginner novice. So yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool. What an adventure!
It was an adventure.
Makes you a little bit appreciate a tractor again, doesn't it?
Right, exactly. And a golf cart. I mean, they don't even have a golf cart there,
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Give me a
I make sure I have my good shoes, I'm not sitting on my scooter running around designing. I'm walking everywhere.
Yeah, sure exactly.
If I forget a jump on the course, I'm like, oh my God, I got to go back and start all over again.
Yeah.
So tell us tell us about the fun side of things. I mean, like, do they have big parties and barbecues and stuff like that? A little bit like Brazilian. It's like when you go to an event down there.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like a little festival.
Yeah, everybody is. We all went and did karaoke one night, and they have. It's just all the guys all fix the food and have their little food stand, and it's great. Now, as far as the partying at night, I'm not sure. I think a lot of it are kids and stuff like that. So I'm not sure how much of that goes on, and pretty much the organizers are exhausted, so we just go back to the house and drink and eat and go to bed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We do the partying before or after the competition.
Yeah. Good fun. That's cool. Cool camaraderie.
Yeah,
though.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So, Kathy, another reason why I wanted to get you on the show is because you recently lost your buddy Okatia, which is we're going to totally change subjects here. But Okatia was such a cool horse for so many people that a lot of people probably don't know his pretty awesome story from the moment he was found until he found his way back to your field for his final retirement, which was a pretty good life for him. So tell our listeners a little bit about our friend Opie Lopey.
Well, Opie Lopey. He, I actually would need to look up because I don't remember, but he was off the track thoroughbred. I think he had only like 4 starts and just didn't want to know about racing. And the story that I got told was that Bobby Hewlett down at from Holly Hill Farm, he's always going and looking at in the kind of the kill pens to look at horses, and Opie was kind of standing off by himself. And he kind of noticed this big raw bone kind of 3-year-old standing. He's like, that guy's really cool. And Opie was like, I do not want to be with those horses over there. And this is kind of the story that Bobby and Tracy, his wife, tell. And so Bobby tells the story that he had to pay 67 cents a pound or 68 cents a pound instead of his normal 62 cents a pound to buy the horse. And to get him from going to the killers. He goes, I had to ante up a little bit, but I could tell he was going to be a really cool dude. So, the Hewletts could fill you in so much more. I mean, they started him eventing, and I think everybody in the family rode him, Paige and Bobby and Tracy and drawing a blank on the.
But didn't Heidi took him to Young Riders too?
Yeah, Heidi took him to Young Riders and won Young Riders with him evidently, and then I think she did one advanced on him, and it didn't go super well, and they decided to let David have the ride on him for a little bit and get him up to advanced, and so or attempt advanced again. And I know that David went to Radnor with him and won Radnor with him, and then took him 1 or 2 advanced. I'd have to go look at the record, but then I'm actually sitting, watching Opie being ridden at the O'Connors because someone was trying him, and I didn't know he was for sale or anything. And Karen, in her inimitable fashion, gives me an elbow in the ribs and says, Kathy, you need to buy that horse. And I'm like, well, I didn't know he was for sale, and tell me more about him. So I put together a syndicate and bought him, and he was just he was just an amazing jumper. He was a little bit difficult on the flat. He kind of was up periscope all the time with his head, but he had the heart of a lion, would jump anything. And I was just so fortunate to be able to get the ride on him. He was a little bit of a challenge keeping him sound, but I was able to do Fairhill, Foxhall, Kentucky once or twice, and just have, the best rides on that horse. And he was just an amazing cross-country machine. He was a pretty good show jumper. And like I said, he didn't like the dressage that much, but, back then it really didn't matter.
None of them did back then, though, did they?
Yeah,
exactly.
Didn't really matter. No,
it didn't matter. Yeah. You should go. Yeah, I mean, and one time at Kentucky when I got all ass backwards on some combination, I didn't make the turn, and I kind of went around this way and around that way, and managed to get out of it with no penalties, I thought. And I got back to the barn, and Philip Dutton comes running over to me. How'd you do? What'd you do there? Let me figure this out, just in case something like that happens to me. And they didn't give me the penalties. And then after he passed the jog, which Opie had to jog twice on Sunday morning, then the technical delegate came up to me and said, Kathy, we've decided to assess you that 20 penalties. And I was so mad. I goes, there weren't very many competitors, you guys were home at 3:30 yesterday afternoon. Why couldn't you have come up with this decision then?
No
And I think they were
kidding.
waiting.
Yeah.
They were waiting to see if I passed the jog to see who had to be the bad guy. So
Rock, paper, scissors. Yeah.
exactly, rock, paper, scissors for sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, so after I retired him, then he went back to the Hewletts, which is really cool because some pony clubbers, Ashley Hayes, I think, rode him, and some other kids, and he was, sound enough to do the lower level eventing. And then when he kind of retired from that phase of his life, Karen had gone down to teach a clinic there, and she saw Opie, in the field. And I'm not knocking Holly Hill, but the 30-acre grass fields in Kentucky, she kind of called me up and said, Kathy, it'd be really cool. Opie's kind of retired. He's not working now. And if there's any way you can bring him back to Kentucky to live out the rest of his days, that'd be awesome. And so I just got in touch with Tracy and said, let's get him a ride. And I think they brought him up when Kentucky was the host of Young Riders for so many years. They brought him up on a van for Champagne Run and then Young Riders. And he was able to be out in the field, and we hacked him a little bit, and every once in a while someone would ride him, but for the most part, he just hung out and taught the babies in the tobacco barn field, was where all our young horses go. And then when we got a little crowded, then he and actually Kate, Spelga Dam, I put him in the mare field with her because we always have less mares. So there's only like 5 of them out there. So they hung out together quite a bit too. But then this year he just got a little bit of pneumonia. He just wasn't doing well. And I said, you know what, buddy, you've lived a good life. And I don't want to, the worst thing for me with these older guys is to find them out in the field and with the ice and the snow and they've slipped and they can't get up. And I think you're doing them a better service, letting them move on, in a dignified manner than having it not be, or have it be something that you don't want to walk out in the morning and see your retired 4-star horse not able to get up. You know what I mean?
It's such a hard decision that we have to make for them, don't we? It's part of the responsibility that we take on is to make that call.
Yep. Exactly.
We've all had to do it. Yeah.
Yep.
I love that. I just love that story. I mean, the kill pen to Kentucky. I mean, that's like that's like the all-American story, isn't it?
I know it is for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So tell me this.
I sent the story to RP and they were just happy to publish it. And I got people sending me, someone just this morning texted me a picture that I'd signed of Opie or Kate, I can't remember now, that, said, look, you signed this picture and here they are jumping the corner at Kentucky, It's just really cool. Yeah.
So, Kathy, was he or was he not the horse that you got struck by lightning on?
No, he was not the horse I got struck by lightning on.
I absolutely love the story. Kathy, can you tell the listeners the story?
I forgot about that story.
Yeah, well, no one hangs out with me when there's a thunderstorm, I can tell you that, because they know but all of a sudden I've lost all my friends.
Yeah.
We're at Middle Tennessee 3-day event, so this was a long format, and we're kind of in the tents, and it's thundering and lightning outside, and it's, maybe at a horse trial, I'd have said, man, I'm not going out there, but it was, long format, and I've gone there to compete. And I said, well, okay. And Debbie McKenzie at the time, Debbie Wilson now, she was kind of teasing me about when we used to wear our hunt caps. She goes, that little button, that metal button on the top of your hat's going to attract the lightning, Kathy. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. Okay. So I get on to go warm up and I'm out in this field and that bolt of lightning came down. I mean, if I'd been hit, I would be dead, obviously, but it hit so close to me that it felt like a 400-pound sledgehammer came down on top of my head and just knocked me, right off my horse. And the horse just went flying back to the barn. I was like crying and going, hey, where's, the ambulance comes running over and like, get me the hell out of this weather. I'm jumping in the ambulance so fast. There they had to like cross a road and the horse was never the same after that. I sold him to someone. No, I'm teasing.
But you were fine.
Yeah, I felt like clearly. I was.
Yeah,
I was absolutely. Yeah, no problem. Yeah,
I
felt
worries.
like someone had really crushed my spine a little bit. Like all of a sudden I was 2 inches shorter.
Wow.
Let me be able to ride more horses. Yeah. No. But
Dear.
so I survived that. And then I said, yeah, Debbie, you're in trouble because you warned me about that little button on my hat and it got me.
Oh my God. That
But
is.
anyway.
Isn't that
Yeah.
hilarious, Max? I just love that
I know.
story.
I know. It is such a good story. It's like, of course, yeah. Kathy gets, she's like, yeah, I'll get right back on. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. Where's the horse? Come
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. So when it starts thundering and lightning, I remember when she would be down training with Karen David, she'd be, I'm out of here. I'm like, I
know.
am right
do.
next to you, girl.
I have a fear come up. You know, I'm like, okay, I got to get undercover. I can't be out here because, like I said, I would have been dead if it hit me directly. But there were burn spots in the field, and Jürgen Goller was another guy that was out there riding, and I think he got knocked off his horse too. And there were lightning strike spots in the field where we were trying to warm up our horses for dressage. Yeah, there were. Yeah.
Oh, how the rules have changed now, Max.
I know, exactly,
I know.
right?
5 miles away, and you're locked up for a while. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I know, exactly.
Yeah. Oh my
Back
God.
in the day when things were right.
Exactly. Knock a little sense into everybody. Yeah.
Well, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, but tell you what, you don't have to live in Florida very long to start getting a bit windy about lightning. I can tell you.
Exactly.
When I first moved here, I was like, lightning storm, lightning storm. And now, I'm not going to go into the details, but there's been plenty of lightning strikes and things and bits and pieces close to home and all of that.
Yeah.
And, animals and livestock killed and stuff. And you start to go,
Yep.
hang on a minute. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Don't ride in the rain anymore. No.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Inside.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
You could definitely take your second chance. So Kathy, you looking forward for you for this year. You're you come to Florida soon. You come on down to sunny Ocala, Florida in a couple days.
Coming down to sunny Ocala on Wednesday. Yep. For
Excellent.
Sure. Yep. Looking forward to it. Got a good group of kids and horses coming down, and it's going to be a fun time. Yep.
Excellent. Good stuff. And you've got some courses you're designing in Kentucky and other area a lot of stuff in Area 8. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm doing a lot of show jumping and I do the flying cross country. I'm doing one up in Michigan and then a lot of the show jumping, and I just love it. And hopefully the USCF meeting's happening this week, and they'll we all took our exams back in September and all kind of got signed off with our examiners that everything was good and put in all our paperwork. So all we're waiting for is the USCF LOC. I hope to sign off on the large R, so I'll be qualified to, design intermediate tracks. So that'll be really cool because that'll open up a few doors. For me. Yeah.
It's a long process that you guys have to go through to get licensed, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems like a massive amount of hoops to jump.
And it gets pricey.
It isn't. I mean, at the end of the day, for course design anyway, I mean, if you think I'm going to go out there and design a course that people are going to be jumping and it's my responsibility. And yes, it's a group, you have the ground jury, you have technical delegate. It's all team effort when you get to the competition. But I didn't mind necessarily I love the education part and hanging out and apprenticing and apprenticing with the course designers. And they're just, bless them. They're going to to design. And then they're like, oh, wait, I got to go over here. So no, I'm not going to be. So hooking up with them was quite a bit of work. But once you got it done, then it was really useful and very comforting and educating to do all of that work so that when you go take the test and when they give you that piece of paper, you're going to be confident enough that you can go out and do good course design. So there are, but dotting the I's and crossing the T's as far as the organization and getting your evaluations, your apprentice work, that's got to go in, and making sure the guys follow up with that is just something that as you go along, you learn to have that piece of paper with you and get them to sign it while you're standing in front of them,
Yeah,
so
no kidding.
Because if you wait for them, they're just so busy. They're like, yeah, I thought I set it in. And
it ends up in the back of their pickup truck, doesn't it?
Right, exactly. And then it rains and then you're screwed. No.
Yeah, exactly.
How did we end up back at the rain again? I don't know. No.
Yeah, exactly. Back at the thunderstorms. Yeah. Enough of that.
Back at the thunderstorms.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So.
Well, Kathy, thanks so much for being on the show with us. We're going to let you go. Great. You're probably going to be packing and doing your stuff, but it's great to talk to you.
I have a lesson waiting for me.
Oh, goodness.
30 Can't wait to get to Ocala. Be teaching in
No
the sunshine.
kidding. Exactly.
You will be. You will be. I'll tell you what. Bring a few winter woolies with you because we've had a few chilly mornings down here, but the rest of the time it's
I'll do
not
that.
too bad.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sounds
looking
good.
forward to seeing you down here, Kathy. And
All
thank
right.
you very much.
Joining us now is our friend from Mid-Atlantic Equestrian Services, Lisa Thomas. Lisa, welcome to the show.
Thank you, guys. It's great to be on.
So, amongst other things that you do, Lisa, you do a lot of sponsorship work and stuff for a lot of people, and you represent a lot of companies and all that kind of stuff. But one cool thing that you've just done recently, which I'm kind of disappointed that I didn't get to go to, is that you got to attend the Equestrian Businesswomen's Summit down in West Palm Beach. Tell us a little bit about the background behind it and the whole idea of it and what happened during this whole summit.
Well, I was really happy to come down to Wellington a day early, actually, to attend this summit. So the idea of the summit was born from Jennifer Wood, and it's through Jennifer Wood and Jump Media, I believe. And it was really her brainchild. And it was this brilliant idea to bring together women across the equestrian industry. There were women that represented, they were not only riders there were companies, from every walk of life. There were over 100 women in the room, and Jennifer had put together a really great panel of kind of leading boss ladies in the industry. And we spent the whole day attending all these different panels, and it was really an inspirational experience.
So at this conference, obviously there's a bunch of, a lot of estrogen there and everything, but there's a lot of people that talk. Who did you seem to find as the person that you weren't expecting to know about, and you were sort of a little bit blown away by them?
So there was a young lady who was actually next to me by the door, and she was in a wheelchair because she did not have any legs from below the knees. And I saw her prepping for her speech, and she was second up on stage. And her name is Beatrice Lavalette, and she goes by the name of B. And she has dual citizenship. She's French and she's American. And a couple years ago, she was actually in the bombing in Brussels and lost both of her legs from, I believe, the knee down. And so when the bombing happened, she had second and third degree burns all over her body. And it was really miraculous that she survived. But she was also a lifetime equestrian. When the bombing happened, she was only 17. So at the conference, she's 19 or 20, and she's here in Wellington training with the paras. And so she's really bounced back from the experience, and her attitude and gumption for life and just ability to have such a positive outlook for her future was just so inspiring. And she's one to watch because I truly think that she'll be joining the likes of Becca Hart as one of the top U.S. para equestrians, and she will be riding for the U.S., which is great.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Got to make sure, sort of think about it. We all are like, oh, it's kind of cold outside. I don't know if I want to ride. Sort of puts things a little bit into perspective, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
It really does. She was amazing and just had such a positive attitude, and is really excited to be here in Wellington. And I guess she's competing in the next couple of weeks. And then now she lives on the West Coast. And so she'll be going back there, but she'll be back and forth to Wellington, and we'll be competing with the paras going forward.
Wow. Cool. That sounds like a pretty cool day. I mean, it's probably a lot. I know Joe is really sad he missed it, being a guy and all.
Well,
Listen, you would be so smart.
Yeah.
I remember the cupcake lady on
Yeah.
Shark Tank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
she's
do.
one of these people.
I do.
Yeah.
I remember when you said, "Oh, she was on the Cupcake Lady on Shark Tank." It rings a bell. I saw that episode. I'm sure I did. Okay.
Yeah, she packaged her cupcakes in basically like jars because you couldn't really ship them. And so the whole idea behind her baking was that she was shipping these cupcakes now it's all over the world. And yeah, she's really, it was an amazing story because she had been up and down throughout her life and losing everything. And she's really a comeback kid. But then
cool.
the conference also had some great panels. So they had panels on social media, and it was to address people not like myself who work in the media, and also to address athletes and to address business owners about key practices with social media. And so Patricia from Echo Gold was on that panel. Lisa Engel from Sidelines, Lainey Ashker was a guest.
Lainey, we know Lainey. She's a pretty good social media.
Yes, she is the queen of the selfie. So
yes,
they had her
is.
on. And then they had some other panels that were all
okay. So I'm interested in this social media thing. Okay, because I want you to try and explain to me, because a while back you had to be quite good at writing, win prizes, do things like that to gain sponsors, and that's kind of how it rolled. And it seems that nowadays it's, whether it's become parallel or whether the social media aspect has gone even more, it's more about how much, and I hate to say, BS you do on social media, how many selfies you do, how much you go on about this, that, and the next thing. That's what's attracting sponsors. Please explain this one to me.
Okay, so that's a good segue, because so I've worked in the business for about 15 years, and my clients, I offer them website design, PR, social media, advertising, and sponsorship management. And when I started in social media, really it was just all Facebook. And I felt that a lot of it was very organic and authentic. And so to me, when I sat in on the panel, we had a lot of conversation around that, because for both businesses and athletes, it can't be something where you are just slinging a ton of BS all the time. And that becomes pretty transparent to not only businesses that sponsor the athletes, but also to your following. And so there's really a delicate balance on how you represent yourself on social media. I offer it as like something that supports all of my clients, but I also coach them on how to be real and how to give back to their sponsors and how to be authentic. And it's not all about hashtags and in your own self-image. So it's really important that it's used correctly. I think that most of the public is really wise to that. And so from a business perspective, you're going to lose followers. You're going to lose people that are interested in your products if your whole social media is not really authentic. So that's a good question, Joe, and it goes on both sides. It's from the athlete side and the way that the athlete is representing the companies that they work with.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, and call me old-fashioned, but athletes should be high profile, be able to win fairly good competitions, that sort of thing, and we're getting a whole lot of. It feels like an undercurrent coming through of athletes that aren't there, are there or thereabouts, but are sort of like touting themselves as being wonderful and things, and using social media as that tool. And then I want to go on to say, like, I was with one manufacturer of riding apparel last year, and one of the first things that they said to me was, how many followers have you got on Instagram? That was the first question. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I'll have to have a quick look on Instagram. Thanks. Yeah,
Right.
look, I've got a couple of thousand or whatever it is, or or something like that. And they're like, oh well, we've got these people and they got 5,000, 6,000. Yeah, and I'm like, okay. And the names that were rung around were people that just aren't all that. And
performing,
yeah. And so just tell me, I mean, like, I'm not asking this question because I'm bitter about it. I certainly aren't, but I just want to know, there's got to be a balance somewhere.
So most people know that I have worked with Boyd and Silva Martin for multiple years, for over 10 years. And we manage, also Amber Heinsberger is very much behind the social media. And so what I'll say to any athlete is social media is a necessary evil, and that it is something that you must do. But once again, you need to, as an athlete, you're selling your product, and your product is your success in the tech. That is your number one priority. You have to be successful at what you do as a product. And then you back that up with just some social media. If you post once a week, and once again, that it's authentic and that you keep doing it on a regular basis, that's what's appreciated. But from the business side and also the athlete side, you can't have all this fluff without a product. So for you as an athlete, it's about getting to the events and winning. It's about breeding, training, and selling, quality horses. That's your business. So that's still your key focus. And what you have to do is just kind of make it second nature. But you don't have to make it like it doesn't have to be at the same level as everybody else. And you don't have to emulate everybody else. You need to make sure that you're capturing your own persona and just be true to who you are, because it's so obvious when someone is just trying to promote themselves through false ways on social media. So I hope that makes you feel a little better.
No, that's fabulous advice. Okay. And, I want to just talk about this certain people that are on social media, the bit of advice about once a week. I think that's fabulous. You look at myself, I'm a person that does not get to read social media on a regular basis. And the reason is because I've got one hand on each rein most of the time, and when I come back in from riding in the evening, I'm brain dead. So and that's how I roll. I'm not one of these people that has the time to do it. Luckily, my wife is very good, and we communicate all the time together about what the horses are doing and how things are going, and we're at the competitions together. So she's got a very, very good handle on exactly what's going on in my life and does the tweeting for me, a lot of it, and Facebook posts and that sort of thing. I mean, and so that's kind of how we roll. But I mean, I very appreciate the once a week, and I hope some of the listeners can get down to once a week, But I just feel that with some of our younger listeners and some of the sort of young riders and people that are coming along, there should
be some sort of etiquette almost for it, shouldn't there?
No, it's such a.
It sounds weird that way, but yeah.
Well, I know that sounds weird that way, Max, but it has such a huge influence on young people, and I'm a person, I've got 2 young children, and I know what's going, like, how the media influences them and social media influences them, and how they start to think about what they have to do and what they need to do and things according to social media. And this is why it's like, if we could find a common ground.
Yeah. I think, though, what you're going to find now is that people, you don't need to go on so many different social media resources. Like, you can choose Instagram's for the younger group. Facebook, you can put more on there, and it's more for, I would say, owners and business owners and horse owners and influencers. And so you don't have to prostitute yourself on social media. You just have to have a little bit of a presence. And if you are not comfortable doing it, the thing I always recommend is, and this is what I do with my riders, is that I find somebody within the barn that they're comfortable with that can help them with it. So maybe there's somebody that's a little more technically savvy or a little more
like a 17-year-old kid.
Yeah.
But someone who is more comfortable doing it.
Well, sometimes self-promotion is easier from a third party anyway.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
And especially when you've just had a weekend where you've fallen off 3 horses and you've got a broken leg or something like that, you really don't feel like tweeting. Yeah. Oh, it was so wonderful, do you? So it is better with that third party. But Lisa, that is fantastic. And I think, Max, I want to talk about something else now. So what else? We could thrash this horse for forever. We could go on about it never. It is a necessary evil, and it's got to be done.
And in saying that too, talk us through a little bit, at least when people decide they're going to sponsor a rider, there's got to be 2 sides to it, right? So the riders have got to do something for the sponsors, and the sponsors in return have to sort of do whatever they're going to say for the riders. And do people get contracts? Do people do those types of things?
Okay.
Does it work? I mean, because everybody's got to protect themselves a little bit, don't they?
Yeah. So what I wanted to talk about sponsorship from both the side of the athlete and also the side of the company, because I work with both different groups. And the one thing that is important to me is finding the right fit for both the athlete and also the business. And so the first thing that is the most important is that the athlete, when looking for sponsorship, has to truly believe or use the product. So that is the most important thing. And I recommend to everybody that's looking for sponsorship that, once again, it needs to be authentic. It needs to be something that you use in your at the barn on a daily basis or when you're competing. And it has to be something that you can really get behind. So you always have to use these products. So once you've found a product that you love, then it's important to make a good match between the athlete and the business. So what I do is I work on relationship building. That's the most important thing. And so if you're looking for sponsors from the athlete side, you have to work on that relationship. And you have to not be quite so obvious about it. There's nothing worse than somebody just sticking their hand out.
Yeah.
So the athlete has to think about, what am I bringing to the table for this business? And they need to make themselves unique. And once they've done that for the sponsor, they're successful. So again, sponsors want some social media presence. That's important. But they also want presence at the horse shows. They want presence when the riders are teaching. They want presence when the riders are selling the horses. It's all about the relationship. So at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. So again, social media will help support the sponsorship relationship. But it's very important that there is a true relationship there and a true use of the product.
Yeah. And transparency of what everybody has decided that they're gonna, so everybody's, you need to put this banner up at every competition. Well, it's like, don't just give them the banner, right? I mean, it just needs to be a little bit
Right.
clear, and the information
Beyond
needs to get to where. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
can I just give a quick example of this? And I know exactly what you're saying, Lisa. We sell a lot of horses, and they are dressed in their Devaku tack and their Equilibrium boots and their bits, and all of the sponsored things are on the horses. And a lot of the way it works is someone will try out a horse and they'll say, "This is a really nice saddle," And
okay.
that is the chance. That is the first time they've sat in the Devaku saddle, or they've done whatever. Or, oh gosh, this is a nice bridle. Where'd you get this from? And it's actually, you'd be amazed the amount of people that go and take an interest or buy it. Yeah, well, they've tried it without even knowing. They haven't had to call the rep and get someone to come around and
they've sat in it and they've jumped a jump in it. They like the balance of it. And
it was just a very easy way of doing it without having to feel like they get committed to do something with getting a rep around or going and sitting at a stand and getting the spiel and the whole sort of thing. It's like, oh, well, I really like this, So sorry, Lisa. Sorry, Carol. Let's carry on there. Yep.
No, so with once again, but that's true, Joe, because that comes back to the relationship, and at the end of the day, that's what is important to the sponsors. So any athlete looking for sponsorship, you've got to be able to have the people skills to develop that relationship. But then again, not everybody can seek sponsorship. You have to be successful at what you do. You have to have a good group of owners. You have to have a good group of people training under you. So you have to have a product and know what it is that your core business function is. The other thing is once you get to the point where you've been working with the sponsors and it becomes official, absolutely everybody has to have a clear contract. And most of the times the businesses will serve that up. I go through for my clients contract negotiation, and you have to be, as an athlete, very clear on what you're going to be giving back to the sponsor. And a lot of that is you have to source your own photos. You have to be willing to have different open houses at your facility to show off the tack, or you go to the feed sponsor and you might do an appearance, that sort of thing. So all of those are really important. And it's what makes our business go round, especially for event riders, because sponsorship is so key to helping you with your saddles and your bridles and all the different training tools that you need. All the big companies like Smart Pack and Ariat, they all have very formal contracts, and you usually sign for anywhere from a year to 5 years. So it's all very official. I think in the past, our business, every discipline has always done everything on a handshake, and that's not the way to run a business. So
just protecting everybody in the end, isn't it? I mean, you just sort of have, unfortunately, it's what we have to do now.
Yeah, it's just making things exceedingly clear. And so you understand what the expectations are. And you have to be communicative, thankful, and give back. And if you don't do that, you're not going to maintain a sponsorship relationship. It's that easy.
Yep. Yeah. Just like real world stuff, huh? Weird.
Exactly.
Oh, that's so funny that sometimes it just comes out.
So here's a question, Lisa, talking about sponsorship, and this is probably something for our younger listeners, people that are coming up through, people that are starting to get some decent results and starting to feel like they can start to reach out to sponsors. What would you say to our younger people? It would be the steps to take.
Well, it's really pretty much the same as what I just said to you. You have to establish your business first and make sure that you're doing really well. And if it's not a business, if you're a young rider, you have to make sure that you're just putting your best foot forward and that you're focusing on your riding first and foremost. And then secondly, you are going to meet people at the events or at the shows, and you have to learn to have communication skills and presentation skills.
Yeah, there you go.
This is one of my absolute pet peeves the whole time, communication skills. And this is, do you know what? I think it's a lost art for millennials.
It is.
Well, everybody's looking at their phone and they're texting, right?
Yeah.
They're on their phone,
Right.
they're texting, and everything goes through the text or Snapchat, so they don't actually ever have a conversation.
Can I just say this?
Yeah.
You're not going to get a job without an interview talking on the phone. You would not believe the amount of job applicants I have that people, they just want to text me or email me. That doesn't, no, you need to dial the numbers. Yeah, I feel like saying, are your fingers broken? You know, you dial the numbers, talk to me on the phone. You've got to be able to have some skills. Sorry.
But Joe, it's actually, it's circling back a bit because like my kids are 13 and 16.
Hallelujah. How is this happening? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't get them a phone for a long time. Like they were each 13 when I let them have a phone.
You're such a bad mother.
Oh, you're a great
I'm
mother.
evil.
Exactly. Evil. Yeah, no, it is good, but I'm joking. Evil.
But they don't know how to talk on the phone. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Funny. But
Okay, so it's coming back. So what, kids, what?
Yeah.
So what's happening?
I think
They've taken off the keypad, have they? They made a button just to call someone.
What I think is circling around, and it's the same thing you've heard me talk about in this interview the whole time, is that it comes back to relationships, period. And you can't have a relationship through text messaging, emailing. You have to pick up the phone. You have to have some communication skills, and you have to be able to meet with people. And that's what it's all about. So I think that we'll see some areas of social media narrowing in the next few years. And I think that it'll have less importance. And at the end of the day, you're not moving yourself forward as a rider or as a business through being behind a keyboard or, creating something on social media. Again, that's always going to be there as your marketing presence. But at the end of the day, anybody can tell you in business or as a rider that everything that happens is because of a personal relationship. So
absolutely.
Best advice I can give.
Almost every rider that has a big owner, it's all from a personal relationship with that owner, isn't it? It's got nothing to do with it's all got to do with that.
Yeah. Yep. So there's one other thing I wanted to mention along those lines is, so speaking about relationships, so Max this year, since I have been at the Ocala Eventing Prix Invitational for the past several years, working for my clients at Wardley Martin and also at Ocala Horse Properties, she asked me this year to get involved. And so I am now involved managing sponsorship and helping with PR. And so that is a prime example of something that came to fruition because of a relationship. I'm in Florida right now in Wellington, staying with my friend and client, Kim Hirschlow, who has very generously put me up, and she's an amazing Grand Prix dressage rider. But I'm here in Florida with her because of that relationship. And so, again, it just all really comes back to that. So that's my mantra for the day.
There you go. Yeah. Let's talk about the Eventing Prix Invitational. We got some good stuff coming up, don't we?
Do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's going to be happening on March 4th and 5th at Southern Cross Equestrian. And it was, again, the brainchild of Scott Keach and Max Corcoran, the woman who manages and organizes Scott Keach's life.
Which is something to say about itself.
A big job.
Yeah.
So this is what, the 6th year, Max?
6th year, yeah. 6th year. Can you believe that, Joe?
Yeah.
Joe's been to
Yeah.
Joe's been to every single one. There's no other New Zealanders, but I give a whole country to him because he's been to every single one from the very beginning. He's supported the hell out of this show.
So tell our listeners a little bit about the concept behind the eventing prix.
Well, I think our listeners probably have heard this a bazillion times, but the whole concept is for these event riders to get more practice jumping under pressure, and in a team atmosphere, in a team setting at the same time, and also to have a little bit of fun and make a little bit of money, which is also the good part of it. But really, it was just for people to sort of practice under pressure in an environment that's it's a great spot. It's a fantastic feel to it, the venue, and it's it adds a lot to these times when we show jump before we go cross country so often now that we don't actually get to worry about show jumping when it doesn't technically count. It's not like you're putting out an entire weekend, but if you have a rail or two in this circumstance, but it is a great way to practice, and it's a fun day.
It is. It's a complete community event. I always
looked into that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of spectators, great sponsors, a really fun VIP tent. The event riders, they all go for it. They really go for it when they're in the ring. It's always scheduled perfectly so it doesn't interfere with the other events, and people in the past have left and gone up to Red Hills from there. This year, it's the Monday, Tuesday. So the big event's actually on Tuesday.
Tuesday afternoon, yeah.
Tuesday afternoon. And then Wednesday is the trot up for...
not really a trot up. I think that just everybody checks in on Wednesday. I don't think they really necessarily have to trot up. Yeah. Oh, Live Oak. Yeah. You're talking Live Oak. Yeah, exactly. For the driving. Yeah, it's a big weekend in Ocala.
Well, and then there's the huge FEI, isn't it? A 5-star show jumping.
It's a World Cup 3-star World Cup qualifier.
Okay. See, Max, you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So,
it's a World Cup qualifier.
Really huge week. Yeah. So we are, Max is in the middle of organizing the teams in the different countries. So there's 4 countries that'll be represented at the event. And then I'm busy working on sponsorship.
Trying to get more prize money for these riders.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
We are still in need of sponsors. So this is my plug that I would love people to go onto Facebook and find our page, which is Eventing Prix Invitational. And on there is information about sponsorship. And I can't release the names, but I got a couple really good sponsors this past weekend at the Women's Business Summit as well. So that made my trip down here really, really worthwhile. Yeah. So that's
good
it.
stuff, Joe. Yay!
Sure is, Max. It is. Yeah. It is. You forgot to say that it will. I assume there'll be a live stream again this year, Max.
Yes, there definitely will be live stream. Q Sports Network is doing the live stream, and we've got
sponsors love a bit of live streaming.
Yeah, live streaming. You get all that stuff on there. So yeah, that's always a really good thing. Yeah.
And food and booze. That's also really important.
Fantastic. There's such a fantastic after party, which our dear friend Joe Meyer does help do the barbecue. And let me tell you, if you've ever had Joe's barbecue, it's pretty damn excellent. Just a good time. It's a fun day. So get more information. Come on out. Do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Well, I've also got Teresa Foote helping me this year, and she is
that's awesome.
She's pretty famous for a few barbecues and a bit of entertaining as well.
Friday.
So
we'll have to call it something Tuesday. What are we going to call it? We're going to have to call it.
I don't know, Max.
Something. Yeah.
It'll be something Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. It might be Margarita Tuesday or something.
Exactly.
I don't know, but it'll be something like that.
Exactly. Yep. Excellent. Well, Lisa, thanks so much for joining us today. We're going to let you go. We've been chatting for a bit here, and our listeners, I'm sure they're probably doing their trot sets, and they're probably ready for us to zip it. But thank you so much for taking time and catching up with us. And if we will, we'll talk to you soon.
The Eventing Riders Association of North America is the collective voice of riders, equine professionals, and owners in pursuit of enhancing the growing sport of eventing in North America. In cooperation with our members, governing bodies, related committees, and organizers, ERA of NA works to improve the overall welfare, safety, visibility, and growth of the sport. ERA of NA, your voice matters for the sport of eventing. Jump in and engage by becoming a member today. Find them online at www.eraofna.com.
Joining us now is one of our favourite Canadians, Jess Phoenix. G'day, Jess. How's it going?
Great. How are you guys?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Now, I wanted to get you on the show because I was chatting with my wife this morning and your name came up and she said, you better get Jess Phoenix on the show because she left Canada and it was like negative, stupid, something crazy. and so a temperature that I hadn't even heard of. And then and you've got like a mountain. You've got a plethora of Canadians. Like she said, she's got something like 15 kids over there and a squillion horses. So tell us what's going on. Tell us how was last time you were in the spotlight was at the Worlds, and that was like a bit unfortunate.
Oh, we got to hear that story because that's an amazing story. We will hear that in a minute.
That is a full story that you have to hear.
Yes.
Yeah, no, last year was a pretty exciting year. It actually went very smoothly, except for the one day that it should have and it didn't. But yeah, we've got an awesome crew down here in Florida this year. We've got a lot of really talented kids and a big group of awesome horses. So yeah, we are looking forward to the next 4 months.
Wow, that's a lot. A lot of horses, a lot of fun though. That's pretty cool. But you come down a little bit later this year, haven't you?
Well, I actually came down the same time, but we had a couple of horses come over from Ireland. So one of my top girls, Jane Stevenson, actually came down the middle of December to collect them and get them all settled in. So our horses started arriving earlier than normal, but Joel and I came down the same time.
Oh, okay.
As normal. Yeah.
I feel like it was just a bit later. Maybe it's because I missed you so much, Fee. That's probably what it is.
Any day that I don't see you is like an eternity. It's too long.
Way too long.
It's too long, man.
It's terrible.
Way too long.
Just that's tears.
Oh, Max, clearly the favorite. Yeah. So
we have stood together in some tough times.
So, all right. So tell us about the end of the year and Christmas time. I mean, how cold really is it in Canada?
Okay, so my husband just left to go back home to take care of the 300 beef cattle, and he is arriving into minus 24.
Centigrade?
Yes. Celsius.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And it's cold. It's been a wacky winter. We had a ton of snow in November, and then in December it was just freezing cold with freezing rain and terrible footing, and we were just dying to get down here to sunny Florida. That's for sure.
So what do you do? You don't even ride outside? I don't imagine, do you?
Yeah, it's possible that we can do some hacking. We have some nice hills and a lot of hay ground, so that footing actually stands up pretty well, but the outdoor rings we can't ride in for like November, December. And we don't have an indoor at home. So that means we're shipping out. So we have an awesome neighbor and he lets us ship into his property, and we'll take 10 to 14 horses a day and work them. And I mean, our upper level horses are always on a break at that point of the year. So it doesn't really affect them so much, but for the younger horses and the sales horses, it's nice to be able to keep them going.
And when it gets that cold, how bad is it for their lungs to be working when it's that cold?
Yeah, when it's that cold, when you shouldn't be riding because it hurts your lungs, to walk outside. So on those days, we just surrender. We don't do it.
Yeah, I guess you would have to just surrender, wouldn't you? Just sort of what all you can do.
Yeah, and it's cold. Like your hands get cold and your face gets cold, and it's just not a lot of fun.
We used to have snow days in England, right? And
Yes.
like we'd have a snow day and we'd say, oh, it's a snow day, and the horses would stay in and we'd all go off to the pub and stuff, and it was great, and it was awesome. But like it started to snow for a very long time, and it got to the point where I just felt like we had to do some work. Like you couldn't keep just going to the pub every day,
Right.
And so like we just had to sack up and get on with it. And so you've got to do stuff, and you put like I don't know about you, but we put like special nails in the shoes to stop them slipping on the ice, and have like hard picking out their hooves when they got stuck in the snow and things.
Yeah. You get snow pads.
Yeah, we have snow pads in Canada.
Yeah.
That's right.
Snow pads and chilblains. Yeah, chilblains was another big thing. I never got them, luckily, but like a lot of the girls that work for us, they're like sort of not to be rude, but like blue bottoms.
Seriously, it bruises. It's like a bruising almost, because it sort of freezes the some of the fat cells, isn't it? And it bruises you.
Yeah,
it's meant to be very painful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. So
not something we have to worry about in Florida.
No.
Although this morning it was freezing.
It was cold this morning. I was whining this morning. I had to get up early and do stuff, and it was like.
I will say though, in a lot of ways, it is really good to have a frost every now and then to help with the live bacteria that's growing in our ground right now after all the rain we've had this fall.
Yeah.
So yeah, bring on the frost every now and then. So frost and then get warm again real quick.
Yeah.
Time for that. Yeah.
So Jess, you've got like Equestrian horses and riders and things down here, and have you got any what exciting things are on the horizon for this spring? I mean, obviously you've got
Pan Am's.
Quite a few sales horses that I know. Yep, Pan Am's.
Lima, Peru. That is our big goal. So that's what we're really focused on this year. We have a lot of really exciting 2-star horses that got their qualifiers last fall. And then I think Pavarotti, we would head towards the Pan Am's as well, because he's just such an awesome competitor at that level. So yeah, we are looking forward to that. Our first training camp starts in 2 weeks at David and Karen's in Ocala.
So is David going to continue coaching you guys this year?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Excellent. Oh, good for you guys. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yay.
Yeah.
Happy time.
Yeah. So let's go backwards a little bit, because our listeners have got to hear the story of you at the World Championships, because it is just because we all love Jessie, because she's a fighter, she's tough, she's like, oh, I can have a kid and compete at the Worlds 3 days later. I can break my shoulder and qualify for the Olympics 2 days later. It's like, merely a flesh wound. I nearly killed myself,
just a flesh wound.
Yeah. Carry on. It's fine. So you finally get to a competition, all healthy and safe and fantastic. And it looks like it's all going to be so great for Roddy, and he's looking fit as a fiddle, and he is fantastic. And so carry on from there.
Okay, so we honestly went into the WEGs with, it's the best he's ever been going. I was so excited to finally have a year where there was no drama, and everyone was happy and healthy and ready to rock. And we went out cross country, and he was going like a dream. Like the first couple of minutes were just straight lines, and he's just such a good jumper and loves to go fast. And then we got to the backside of the course, and there were 2 skinny squirrels, and he jumped up over the first one and hung up, and he never ever adds in a distance. So I just sat up and I pressed for the 1, but he got 1.5 and chipped in. And when he landed on the other side of the squirrel, I was on his neck, and I was like, I am not falling off today. This is not the day I'm falling off. So we were galloping down a straight line for probably 30 to 50 gallop strides. And I just like every step just kept clawing my way closer and closer and closer. And I just got my right shoulder and leg back over the correct side of him. And then all I hear is, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then somebody grabbed the right rein and I was on the left side of him and they stopped him dead. And I flung to the ground on the left side. And it was one of the spectators had reached out and grabbed his rein and stopped him. And it was just the worst feeling because I mean, there was definitely a couple of strides after the squirrel where I was like, oh no, this is not going well. But then I literally like clawed my way and he just went in a perfect straight line. And I was just almost right back on there. And then that happened and it was not fun. So I just grabbed my horse and I walked away before some choice words were about to come out of my mouth.
I believe someone told me you looked up at the person and said, can I please have my horse back now?
And then I walked away.
And then you walked away, but you were very polite about it.
I would have got a yellow card for that.
Yeah, you would have been yellow carded for sure.
Yep.
Okay, so the best part of the whole story was like
they don't
I
like
didn't think that
sarcasm.
anybody.
No.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. I didn't really think that anybody had really seen it because we were just like in the middle of a gallop lane. There were no jump judges around. The cameras couldn't catch it. And it was just like, wall to wall spectators. And when I got back to the barn and I was just so mad, Selena O'Hanlon's mom, Morag, came into the barn and she was livid. And she's like, that spectator! And she was shaking she has a
stick, her walking stick.
Cane her walking stick that she uses, and she was furious. I thought her head was going to blow off, and she was like, describing moment by moment what was happening. And she said, I was running as fast as I could. I was on the other side of the ropes. I was yelling at the stupid man. She was just freaking out.
And the poor guy probably had no idea what was happening. There's this crazy British woman.
Yeah, like he thought he was helping me. He's like, oh, this poor girl, let me reach out and stop her horse.
Stop her horse so she can get back on. Yeah. Oh, exactly. My God. Oh, God.
Anyways, in that moment when Morag had seen the whole thing, I was like, at least now somebody's going to believe me. Because that story, like in all of the years competing and eventing, and like you think you've seen it all and everything's happened, and then
that just goes to show
like
you.
That happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just keeps.
Anyways, that was my WEG recap.
Oh, well. Oh, well, we've got something in common then, Jess. Yeah. Both fallen off at a WEG. I tell you what, it's no fun. I can tell you.
It's not. It's not fun.
When I fell off, I was allowed to get back on and finish, though. That was the big difference. But,
yeah.
It was
but you technically your fall was on the flat. Oh, but it was it was jump related. That's right. So you weren't allowed to keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I was thinking maybe I should have just tried to get back on and keep rolling. Maybe nobody would have even noticed. But then, you get those cards. They give you those cards.
Those colorful cards. Joe knows about those colorful cards.
But unless you'd remounted once already that year, you weren't going to get it. You're not going to get a ban. Okay,
no.
You've got to. Okay,
you've got to have two consecutive ones.
Yeah, I know, but it's got to be for the same thing. Okay, so
Well, that's what they say, but then it's in fact not the case. They say it's supposed to be for two different things, but
yeah,
there you go.
But then at the same time, too, it's At the same time, I mean, like somebody else at some point, some other place would have, somebody would have made a inquiry about it and got you anyways. So,
yeah,
because you guys were actually looking. You guys were looking to sort of be a little bit of a sleeper that weekend, I reckon.
I know things didn't quite roll the way we needed them to, but honestly, training camp and leading up the whole year, you
guys had
it was such a great group of people. Yeah, and we had a really competitive season as a country. So definitely a little disappointed with the way things ended that day.
And how's it looking for the Pan Ams? Do you guys have a lot of, in general for Canada? I know you always have a gaggle of horses and you ride them so well, it doesn't really matter what you're sitting on. But how's Canada itself looking as far as the Pan Ams are going?
It's looking really good. We've got a lot of new blood coming up. We've got Brandon McMecken, who has a seriously competitive 2-star horse. He's had some really top finishes last year and stepped up to the CIC 3-star level, did really well. And then Brooke Massey just had a really top finish at Fairhill in the fall in the CCI 2-star. And then we've got all of our regular customers who just keep stepping up to the plate and making it better each time out. So, yeah, I think we're really feeling positive and looking forward for Peru.
Because this will be your all's way to get qualified for the Olympic Games.
That's right. Yeah.
You're going to be fighting it with the US of A and Brazil.
We're going to duke it out. The trash talking has already started.
I bet it has.
For sure it has.
Yeah.
Luckily, nobody's friends, so it's fine.
Oh dear, funny. Well, you said you've got some young riders and some new blood coming up. I mean, yeah, the way it's looking for the USA is that's all they've got at the moment, isn't it, Max? The way that they've painted the picture of the new training squads.
Yeah, well, I think so. I mean, I think the training squads are a bit they're there. But I think, isn't it a rule that I don't know why I think this. I don't know if someone's saying that it might happen, but did someone tell me that you couldn't take a horse that's done a 4-star to the Pan Ams? Is that right?
I haven't heard that.
I might be making that up. Maybe that's something they're talking about doing. But so,
that's a good rule.
It actually isn't a bad rule. It isn't a bad rule, just to make, to keep it a fairly level playing field. Because the whole point of the Pan Ams is to help the smaller countries develop, in a team competition. And, obviously the Americans always have a lot of 4-star horses. So in the end, it would be kind of silly for the Americans. No one's going to gain anything from the Americans coming down with a bunch of 4-star horses to win their way into the Olympic Games and carry on that way. And when, that's not the point of the whole exercise of having the Pan American Games, is it?
Right.
Yeah.
So how many teams qualify at the Pan American Games then?
Just the winning country, isn't it?
I think it's the top 2.
Oh, is it the top 2? Okay.
Yeah.
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 I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. But it'll still be, as we all know, things can happen. But I guess actually right now,
don't we know that?
I know.
Every day.
I'm at the USEF convention at the moment, and they're talking about how right now they actually don't have a shipping agent to get horses to Lima. So,
honestly, that's the other question. How feasible is Lima actually looking at this moment?
Yeah, but I mean, you probably remember. I mean, you're not as old and as antique as some of us, but 2003, the Pan American Games, they actually held at Fairhill, the eventing part they held at Fairhill, and that actually went on very, very well because, they had quite a good turnout with horses coming in from all over the South and Central America, which was pretty cool. But there's no reason why they couldn't do that, because right now it sounds like it's a pretty small area where the cross country perhaps may be. So, whether that's the best thing for everybody too at the same time is, who knows?
What point in the season did they make the decision to actually hold it at Fairhill?
Oh, that was a long time ago. No,
I know. I don't remember.
Because that was 2003. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So I'm not completely sure. Yeah. But I know it would be.
Well, it'll be really interesting to see how that shakes out.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully, because apparently everybody says the food in Lima is quite good.
I'd love to go to Lima, Max. And if I went to Lima, I would definitely go to Machu Picchu.
Yes.
Which
you've got destination, huh?
Well, you've got to fly from Lima to an airport near Machu Picchu. You fly straight to 10,000 feet. Okay, so you don't want to get altitude sickness. So if you get altitude sickness, that's not for you.
You're done.
I don't. Yeah. I'm fine. And go there, and I want to go and see Machu Picchu.
It's supposed to be pretty outstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just on a sideline there. Just,
Why not?
but, but it
Yeah.
sounds good.
So they better
Yeah.
keep those Pan Ams.
Yeah,
through.
exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. That'd be great.
Yeah.
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 Goodness gracious. Well, Jesse, we're gonna let you go and check in with all your bazillion horses, and but it's always great to catch up with you and talk to you, and I hope to see
Yeah.
you sometime soon in the hot and dusty trail in our little happy
Absolutely.
world of okay.
Thanks so much for having me on. It's great to catch up with you guys.
No worries. Thank
see
you,
you
Jesse.
soon.
Yep.
Hopefully, hopefully we get a snow day here soon, huh? We can head to the pub. Catch up.
I tell you what, we
can only hope.
we may have to head to Disney for the snow day. Okay.
Yes.
It's gonna be our big chance. Go, all right,
I love it.
go.
I love it.
It's not going to happen here in Ocala, but I think we could probably find snow in Disney and a pub. So we might have to get it organised.
Yeah. Good stuff.
All right. Thanks so much, guys.
No, thank you, Jess. Talk to you soon. She never ceases to amaze me, Jess Phoenix.
I know.
Thanks.
She's like she's got so much energy. She's got 2 kids, a whole business, husband, blah, blah, blah. And those guys are amazing. I mean, and Joel in his own right has, he's a cattle shower, prepper. I'm going to have it wrong. And
Wrangler.
I know it's going to yell at me.
No,
he prepares them he goes all over the world, and he's a big judge.
There's a word for it. Is it
Okay.
wrangler or something or other?
Okay.
No, I know. Like you've got a, I've seen it. I saw them do it in New Zealand when I was growing up. Like these big gnarly old dudes with the like little tail brush out and stuff. Like it's quite serious business.
Yeah, it's really serious business.
Yeah. So, not make fun of it when I've got my own tail brush my own horse's tail, but that's
exactly.
Fine. But yeah, it's just funny. It's just like sort of have a baby and
carry on. Really
go to a 3-day the next day. It just cracks me up.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, here, hold the baby. I'm gonna get on.
Fine.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Max, it's been a long show, and I hope everyone's had a lot of fun. Anita Nimpton-Gilmore, I'm sure you've had a great trot set, and don't think you would have been able to handle this one with no stirrups. So, Max, it's about time you got on and finished the show up.
Yeah, exactly. And before we finish up, we just wanted to let everybody know about the new ERA Adult Amateur Gem Award, which is kind of a new program that we've just launched. The ERA has just launched, and it's a way to get the amateurs involved with the Event Riders Association North America. So if you go online and into the ERA website and you click on programs, it comes up with the Gem Award, and basically you're getting rewarded for doing well. So if you have a qualifying score, it says you must be a current active member of ERA, you must be a current member of USEA with adult amateur status. The scores can be earned on multiple horses over multiple years. Riders must provide proof of scores and it would be verified by the ERA. The qualifying score, so you have to have a qualifying score. So qualifying ride is a dressage score of 50 or less, cross-country, no cross-country jump penalties, and a stadium with no more than 3 rails. So if you get enough of those together, so at the beginner novice level, you have to have 2 of them, and you get a little onyx pin sent to you, and you can put it on the lapel of your jacket. And as you go up through the levels, you send them in, and you get more beginner novice pins and stuff, little gems. And then as you go up, you get emeralds or rubies or sapphires or diamonds, and so and you send your little form in, and we'll send you a gem, and that's kind of a fun way to show everybody what you've done. So check it out, have a look. It's kind of a cool new program, so we're pretty excited about it. Yeah, I think everybody's excited. People worked pretty hard putting it together, but
it's cool. It's really cool.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and to save everybody's thighs from burning, thanks everyone for listening to the Eventing Riders Association of North America podcast. You can learn more about Eventing Riders Association of North America at eraofna.com. You can find the links to today's guests and topics at eventingradio.com. Follow Eventing Radio on Facebook. Just search The Eventing Radio Show, and on Twitter at Eventing Radio. Listen to Eventing Radio anytime, anywhere with the free Horse Radio Network app for iPhone and Android. Go to your app store and search Horse Radio Network. You could also subscribe via iTunes. Thanks again to Springtime Supplements for supporting the show. And don't forget to mention the Eventing Show when you place your order for a 15% discount and free shipping. This is Max, and you can find me on Facebook at Max Corcoran Horse Care. You can find me On Twitter at MMC338. You can find me on Instagram at the same at MMC338. And you can read my blog that I haven't done in a while at Max Corcoran WordPress.
And this is Joe, and you can find me on my website, joemeyreventing.com. You can follow me on Facebook. You can follow me on Twitter, Joe Meyer, EVNTR, Instagram, Joe Meyer Eventing. And tomorrow morning, you can find me first in the ring, Majestic Oaks Horse Trials.
Are you the first one down the center line?
I'm the first one.
2019. Oh my God.
I am, Max. I am on little bees, Buccaneer. He
nice.
is, yep, I know. So, but I've got to get back to the barn quickly and pack all my riding clothes, and
yes,
I haven't done all that, and early morning. But luckily it's a local show, and looking forward to the start.
Excellent. Super.
So thank you very much, listeners, and we'll talk to you all again in 4 weeks' time.
Bye for now.